Hello, grade 10. This is Mr. Ahmed Al Sayed, your physics teacher for today. Today we'll talk about body in nature. The body in nature exists in two mainly states. The first one is the rest state. The rest state or static, it means that any body can't move or doesn't change its position in reference to a fixed point or with time passes. So anybody in rest state or in static, that means the body isn't move from its position. Anybody you see around you in static doesn't change its position, so it's in rest or in static. So that is the first state of anybody. The second state we will talk about mainly today, it's the motion or the dynamic state. The motion means that the body changes its position with time passes. We can say that when you woke up in the morning and go to your school, that means you are in dynamic or in motion state. So what types of motion we have? We have mainly two types of motion. The first one called the translatory motion, and translatory motion means that the body, when it's moved, have a starting point and a final point or end point. Okay, so when body start to move, like when you woke up in the morning and start to move to your school, so you have a start point and it's your home, and end point and it's your school. So you have done a translatory motion. So translatory motion need a starting point and an end point, and this is called a translatory motion. You can see any motion around you as a translatory motion, like when any car moves from point to another. When you play with your friends and you throw a ball to one of your friends, the ball started its motion from you and ends its motion in and about your friend. So this all called a translatory motion. So what the second type of motion we have? We have a second type of motion that called a periodic motion. So what the meaning of periodic motion? Periodic motion, it's the motion when the particle repeats its motion in equal interval of times. So periodic motion, you can see periodic motion around you, like when you saw the moon when rotating around the earth, it make a one complete cycle and keep rotating around the earth every day. You see the moon every day rotating around the earth. So when anybody in a motion that is repeated every interval of time in equal interval of time, so it called to be in a periodic motion. So you can see it in the pendulum. When you see pendulum, like a pendulum in the clock, you see the pendulum go right and left, and this is called a periodic motion. So periodic motion have no start position or end position. When you see a body in the periodic motion, you see the body that is rotating, that is swings to the left or the right, that have no end. This motion have no end. It's a periodic or a repeated motion. For example, we see the periodic motion for number one, we can say a circular motion when the body is moved around a fixed point, like we say the moon when rotate around the earth, it called the moon is in a circular motion and it's a periodic motion. When we look at the earth when it's rotating around the sun, it called that the earth in a circular motion and a periodic motion. Okay, that the first example of the periodic motion. The second example, which is rotational motion. The rotational motion when a body is rotating around a fixed axis, its own axis. Like when we say when a ballerina is rotating around itself, we can say that the ballerina is in a rotational motion, and the rotational motion is a periodic motion. When we say the Earth is rotating around its axis to get the moon or morning and evening, we can say that the Earth in a rotational motion about its axis. Okay, the third example of the rotational motion of the periodic motion, sorry, the oscillatory motion. The oscillatory motion, like we say, the pendulum. The oscillatory motion when anybody moves around any equilibrium position or equilibrium point. When the pendulum start to move left and right, about an point, a fixed point in the middle, he goes up and down, left and right about this point. This is called oscillatory motion, and it's example for a periodic motion. Okay, we now can be classify the motion of any body to two different type. First one, we said the translatory motion. The translatory motion, it's a motion that have a start point and end point. And we have the second type of motion, that is the periodic motion. The periodic motion, that the motion is repeated in equal time interval. And we took an example for the periodic motion, which is the circular motion, the rotational motion, and finally the oscillatory motion. Thanks. This was Mr. Ahmed Al Sayed. Thank you and